What's going on, guys? It's your boy Nick coming today on the channel with a combo tutorial and test hand video for my Evil Eye Labyrinth deck, which I profiled on the channel a few days ago now at this point. I'll be leaving a link down in the description below. Yes, you heard that correctly. It is an Evil Eye Labyrinth deck, and this is post Hypernova and post Trap Tricks structure deck. So if you haven't checked out that deck profile, I highly encourage you do so, because it is something that I did put a lot of work into, and to be quite honest, I'm pretty proud of it because the deck is really good. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. My name's Nick. We do Yu-Gi-Oh! Content mainly focused around Rogue and casual-like decks. So if you're tired of the format, sick of the meta, tired of going to locals and getting blown out by all this crazy stuff, this channel is perfect for you because I do focus on a lot of really cool and unique Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, stuff that most YouTubers don't really spend much time on. With that being said, though, again, welcome. Subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, and we're going to dive headfirst into the combos with this Evil Eye Labyrinth deck. Now, it's funny to say the word combo because ultimately this is a control deck, and usually most control decks don't really have a combo other than, like, you know, set 5 pass and kind of smirk at your opponent. But this deck, while it can do silly stuff like that, doesn't actually have to. It does have interesting lines that it can go down, and I'm here to show that to you. So we're going to start off with the main starter of the deck, in which case is Surzeal. Now, Surzeal, upon his normal summon, lets you add an Evil Eye card from the deck to your hand. So I'm actually going to show you a pretty unique combo. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon the Surzeal, activate the effect to search for an Evil Eye card. And what's cool about this is you can literally, if you wanted to, just grab a copy of Evil Eye of Selene. Evil Eye of Selene is the Evil Eye equip spell. It's one of their most important cards in the deck. Evil Eye of Selene can only be equipped to an Evil Eye monster. While it's equipped, it can't be destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. So it turns any of your Evil Eye monsters into like these towers-like bosses of sorts. And if that weren't bad enough, each time you activate the equipped monster's effects or activate another Evil Eye spell or trap while Selene's in the spell trap zone, I lose 500 life points, and if I do, the equipped monster gains 500 attack. That's a permanent boost, and even if the Selene leaves the field. Also, what's cool about Selene is that if it's in the graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points, banish an Evil Eye spell or trap from your grave, accept a copy of Selene, to then reset this card from your graveyard back to your side of the field, which is really nice to have that, you know, recursion, basically, if your opponent does try to out your Selene. So, like, if we normal the Surzeal, search for Selene, activate Selene, equip into Surzeal, Surzeal effectively can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, nor can the opponent target it. Then, because we have Evil Eye of Selene equipped to the Surzeal, Surzeal gains the ability to now, as a quick effect, he can target a special summon monster the opponent controls and destroy it. So he's a quick effect pop, basically, while he's equipped with Selene. Keep in mind, every time you use that effect, I lose 500 life points, and Surzeal will gain 500 attack, and that attack buff does stack as well as stick in the event of, you know, Selene getting removed. Now, something to keep in mind, to be conscious of, is that when you use that effect to pop an opponent's special summon monster, during the standby phase of the next turn after that effect was used, you mandatorily, this is not an optional effect, you have to destroy a card you control. And that's kind of the gimmick with these Evil Eye monsters, is that while a lot of them have beneficial effects when you use the Evil Eye of Selene, a lot of them kind of like punish you on the next standby for using that ability. And it's kind of interesting because according to the lore, like the Evil Eye of Selene is something that like corrupts the user and like sends them down like a really dark path basically. So it's almost like, you know, you get a benefit, but then it also takes something away from you. And while that might seem counterproductive, being able to pop a card in your field actually isn't as terrible as it sounds, since that can proc certain effects, like your field spell, for example, if when it's popped, it lets you add an Evil Eye monster from the graveyard to your hand. So this is just a simple, like, one-card combo, basically. Just Surzeal by himself basically gets you a miniature towers-like monster with the ability to pop special summon monsters once every turn. Now, if you don't want to search for Selene, you can actually take the combo a bit further by searching a brand new card fresh out of Hypernova called Evil Eyes Unleashed. Now, this card is probably one of the best legacy support cards I could have asked for. So when you this card lets you send an Evil Eye monster and an Evil Eye spell trap from your deck to the graveyard. Keep in mind that's cost. So even if this gets ashed, you still get to Foolish monster and Foolish Burial Goods, a spell trap. Now, if it resolves, it lets you add an equip spell from the deck to your hand, but for the rest of the turn, each time you activate a non-Evil Eye card or effect, you lose 500 life. So what you can do now is if you activate Evil Eyes Unleashed, you can go ahead and send a copy of the Basilatris, Familiar the Evil Eye, brand new out of Hypernova, and send a copy of Evil Eye of Gorgoneo from your deck to the graveyard for cost. And then assuming it resolves, you are able to search out a copy of Selene from the deck to your hand. Now, this might seem like counterproductive because, like, why not just go straight for Selene with Surzeal? Why jump through the extra hoops? Now, the reason why you want to do that is for two reasons. Number one, both Basilatris and Gorgoneo are amazing extenders out of your graveyard. So let me explain. We'll start with Gorgoneo first. Gorgoneo states that if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your grave and discard an Evil Eye card from your hand as cost to then add any Evil Eye spell trap from your deck to the hand. So Gorgoneo almost becomes a Rhoda of sorts from the graveyard by banishing itself and discarding an Evil Eye card. So that can start off combos on its own, which I will be showcasing. And Basilatris is an extender out of the graveyard. It states while you control an Evil Eye monster and this card is in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, you get to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So by sending Gorgoneo and Basilatris to grave to search the Selene, you get free extension out of your graveyard that you otherwise wouldn't have had, and it's all because of this brand new card, Evil Eyes Unleashed, which, like I said, released in Photon Hypernova. Now, what's crazy about this is that if you do Link Summon an Evil Eye Link monster, you can banish the Unleashed from the graveyard to then equip an Evil Eye Equip spell from your graveyard to one Evil Eye Link monster you control. Now, why that's worded that way is because Basilatris, believe it or not, actually gives you the ability to quick link on the opponent's turn using monsters you control, including Evil Eye Equips you can spell. Evil Eye Equips you control, and use them equip spells as material to summon Evil Eye Link monsters. Which is just really cool. So like being able to break the link summoning mechanic and using like equip spells to link summon monsters is pretty awesome if you ask me. So like obviously like you can do the same combo like that we did the first time, but now you have some really nice follow-up in grave because on the opponent's turn, Basilatris can special summon itself as a quick effect from the hand or grave, and then as another quick effect allows us to link summon during the opponent's turn into an Evil Eye Link, also being able to use the equips we control as material. We don't have to, but it's nice that you have the option to. Now what we can go into is one of two things. We can either make a copy of Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eye, by straight up using the Surzeal and the Basilatris as material. Obviously, the Selene would go to grave since it was equipped. The equipped monster left the field. And we can make a Gorgon on the opponent's turn. But because we have the Unleashed in grave, if we link summon an Evil Eye Link, we can banish this and then equip the Selene to an Evil Eye Link we control from grave. So even though we quick link and get rid of Surzeal on field, who was equipped, we now place the equip on the newly summoned Link monster. Mind you, this is all during the opponent's turn. And Gorgon, while equipped with Selene, is pretty much an effect veiler on legs. And also the Selene would grant her the ability to not be targeted or be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is really, really cool. So this deck is all about swapping into monsters that are just like miniature towers. Your opponent's going to have a really difficult time clearing some of these because they require such specific removal. And since you can keep making these cards, even if they do find a way to out, like, your Surzeal, now you can just make a Gorgon if Surzeal is threatened. And now they have to find a way to out this all over again, through the same protection, basically, which is really cool in my opinion. Now, if you don't want to make the Gorgon, you can also go into Surzeal, which is the Evil Eye Link 3 monster. And while this is equipped with Selene, it's able to pop as a quick effect, target any card on the field and destroy it, which is really, really cool. So I like the fact that, Basilatris and Evil Eyes Unleashed allow you to play so well on the opponent's turn. And it's something that Evil Eye just didn't have before. Now, I also talked about how Gorgoneo is pretty much a one-card combo. Let's say we have any Evil Eye card in our hand. So we can go Gorgoneo out of the graveyard, banish it, and then let's just say we had a Basilatris. We can pitch the Basilatris from our hand to grave. And now what we can do is, off the Gorgoneo effect, we can add an Evil Eye spell or trap from deck to hand. So now what we can do is we can search a card like Evil Eye Domain Pareidolia, which is their field spell. Go ahead and activate Pareidolia, and upon its activation, it allows us to search for an Evil Eye monster from deck to hand. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and search for our copy of Surzeal, and now we can normal summon the Surzeal and go Cersei effect to get a search, whether that be for Selene or not, it doesn't matter. We grab whatever we need at the given moment. But now we have like Basilitrus engraved, for example, and we can still special the Basilitrus with its own effect and be able to play from there. And that's how Gorgonale is pretty much like almost like a Rhoda of sorts, because it gets you into like a one-card play basically, which is really, really strong. So having the Evil Eyes Unleashed in this deck is so wonderful. The only reason why we only play the one of, and that's only because this is not a pure Evil Eye list. We also are playing Labyrinth, which I do want to showcase you guys some combos for that. But this is pretty much how the Evil Eye package works. And the fact that Sergio is able to search out any Evil Eye card is really useful, given that he can search things like a Monster Reborn type cards. He can search Gorgonale, can search Selene, which are obviously really strong. But he can also search for a card called Evil Eye Retribution, which is effectively a counter trap that stops the activation of spells and traps while you control an Evil Eye monster. So that prevents your board from getting broken by cards like Evenly Matched, cards like Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster. So the fact that Sergio can search stuff like this is really cool, given that this is a trap deck, and trap decks tend to fold to those types of removal cards. Not to mention, we also can search a card called Evil Eye Defeat, which is effectively compulsory evacuation device on crack, because it allows you to bounce up to 2 cards instead of just 1. So Sergio again can search this and allow us to have a double compulse on the opponent's turn, which, because it's a normal trap that makes monsters leave the field, it triggers all of our Labyrinth stuff. So you can kind of see how like these two decks coincide really well with each other. But speaking of Labyrinth, I feel like this is a good segue into Labyrinth themselves. So let's go ahead and take a look at Labyrinth. So I'm going to show you guys, if I can find it, Ariana, because Ariana is pretty much serves as like a secondary starter for this deck. And through Ariana, just like how there's a one-card combo with Sergio, there's almost a one-card combo with Ariana as well. So upon her normal or special summon, she lets you search for a Labyrinth card from the deck to your hand. So what we can do here is we can grab stuff like Welcome Labyrinth. We can also grab the Labyrinth field spell. It really depends on what we need. So the fact that these cards allow us to toolbox for stuff is really cool, because we can grab any card that we need for any given situation. But in this particular instance, let's go ahead and grab a card like Welcome Labyrinth. We'll set it to our field and pass turn. Now this looks very unassuming, but what we can do here is we can activate Welcome Labyrinth, and what Welcome Labyrinth does is it allows us to special summon a Labyrinth monster directly from our deck. So now we can go into something like Lady Labyrinth, for example, and then obviously if we have other back row, Lady Labyrinth can't be targeted or be destroyed, and then if that back row is cards that remove monsters from the opponent's field, it triggers our Ariana to get a draw on a special summon potentially. If we don't want to go into Welcome Labyrinth, or I'm sorry, if we don't want to go into Lady Labyrinth, we can also go into cards like Lovely Labyrinth for free, straight from deck. So think of Welcome Labyrinth as like an E-Telly of sorts. We can also go into Ariane, which we do play 1 copy of in the deck, just to have another level 4 Fiend that can help us make rank 4s, for example. This doesn't come up all that often, but when it does, it's pretty good. But now, with the release of Photon Hypernova, we have a brand new Welcome Labyrinth card, and that is called Big Welcome Labyrinth. Now, Big Welcome Labyrinth is actually kind of insane, because let's just say we go Ariana to search for Big Welcome instead of Welcome. We can set the Big Welcome, then on the opponent's turn at any point, activate Big Welcome. This is going to allow us to special summon a Labyrinth from our not only our deck, but our hand or graveyard as well. So it covers pretty much every area except the Banish Zone. Now what we can do is, if we special summon a Lovely Labyrinth, for example, and this is assuming we just have a copy of Big Welcome and Ariana and have no other cards on field, we can still trigger the Lovely effect to be able to pop cards in the opponent controls or pop cards in their hand. Because we special Lovely off of the Big Welcome, and then at resolution, Big Welcome bounces a monster we control back to our hand, which is a normal trap that makes a monster leave the field, even if it's our own. So that does trigger the secondary effect of Lovely, because now that our normal trap made a monster leave the board, we can pop something on the opponent's field, which I think is pretty neat. Also, not to mention, we can actually go into stuff like Lady Labyrinth and then be able to bounce the Lady Labyrinth to hand And then we can still special summon the Lady Labyrinth later in the turn using Lady Labyrinth's own effect, since a normal trap was activated this turn. We can almost do the same thing with Ariana as well. If we normal summon the Ariana, search for Lady Labyrinth from deck to hand, and then be able to special the Lady Labyrinth because a Labyrinth monster's effect was used this turn. But Lady Labyrinth is just incredible. Honestly, one of the most insane boss monsters I've read for a theme. She also can self-protect and kind of become like a miniature towers, similar to like Surzeal equipped with Selene, because while you control a set card, a Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle cannot be targeted or be destroyed by the opponent's card effects, which makes her pretty difficult to get around, especially since she's a 3000 beat stick. In addition to that, when a set normal trap card is activated, you can set another differently named normal trap from your deck to your side of the board. So she actually toolboxes any normal trap in the game as long as you play it in your main deck, or sideboard it, and then in game 2 she lets you search almost any normal trap, which is absolutely disgusting when you really think about the impact that has. So like the Labyrinth package, we play so many normal traps in this deck list. Cards like D-Barrier, cards like the brand new terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare out of the Trap Trick Structure deck, Terrors of the Overroot. We play so many cards, Infinite Impermanence, for example, that this deck really snowballs an advantage off of just like simple 1 to 2 card interactions, and it's just really cool to see play out. With that being said, there isn't too many more combos I can showcase here. There is one more combo actually that I can showcase before we get to the test hand. I don't want to make this video too long, but what I can do is a 2-card combo here is, let's say we have Surzeal and a copy of the field spell, the Labyrinth field spell, Pareidolia. So this is a 2-card combo. So let's just say we activate Pareidolia, use the effect to search for a monster. Now, since we already have Surzeal, we can actually grab a copy of our Basilius, Familiar of the Evil Eye, to our hand. Now, what we can do here is we can normal summon the Surzeal, activate Surzeal effect to go ahead and search for an Evil Eye card, in which case we will go ahead and grabbing the copy of Evil Eyes Unleashed, if I can find it. There it is. And now we can special summon the Basilius from our hand. Non-activated effect, we can special this if we control an Evil Eye monster. But now we can go Evil Eyes Unleashed, and for cost, go ahead and send an Evil Eye spell trap and an Evil Eye monster to go ahead and search for an Evil Eye equip spell from deck to our hand. So we'll dump the Basilatris and the Gorgonale, go ahead and search a copy of Selene to our hand. And now what we can do, keep in mind Selene's in our hand, we can actually activate the Basilatris' graveyard effect since we control an Evil Eye monster, special summon it. Now keep in mind this will get banished when it leaves the field, but only if we're going to link it off or tribute it. If we use it as Xyz material, when it gets detached, it's not treated as a monster leaving the board, so it actually goes back to the graveyard. So what you can do here is you can overlay both the Basilatris and the Basilius into a copy of your DDD Stone King Darius. Now, that's just a stepping stone, because what you're going to do now is you're going to overlay a copy of DDD Divisor King Deus Machinex on top of your Stone King Darius, effectively giving you 2 monster steals. Whenever the opponent's monster activates an effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card to then equip or take that monster and equip it as a material to the DDD Divisor King Deus Machinex. And he can do that once per chain. So effectively giving you 2 monster steals on the opponent's turn, in addition to having a Selene equipped with the Surzeal, giving you a miniature towers and a free pop on a special summon monster. Now, let's say the opponent does activate a monster effect and you do want to steal it. You'll detach both the Basilatris and the Basilius. They'll go to grave. You take the opponent's monster, a blank card, for example, and let's just say this is their monster, and you'll put it as a material under the DDD. That way you could have the opportunity to steal something else. But what's cool about this is you put the Basilatris in the graveyard, and now since you control an Evil Eye monster, you can special Basilatris still on the opponent's turn, and then be able to quick link using the Surzeal, Basilatris, and potentially the Selene as well, into either, like I was saying, the Gorgon, the Link 2, or the Zurzeal, the Link 3. For the purposes of this combo, let's just pretend we go into Gorgon. And what we can do is we can actually go the Unleashed graveyard effect, banishing it, and then equipping the Gorgon with the Selene Obviously, Basilatrus will get banished this time. Equipping the Gorgon with the Selene, and now we have another disruption that the opponent has to play through. So off of a 2-card line, we basically had 1, 2, 3, 4 disruptions off of just 2 cards for that simple combo, and that's something that I wanted to show you guys. And that's simply just using the Evil Eye stuff. That's not even including if we had other back row in our hand, you know, or Labyrinth stuff triggering as well. So this deck can get very snowbally very fast. So that was one of the major combos I wanted to tell you or show you guys. So now that you guys have seen some of the combos, let's go ahead and shuffle this deck, and we'll do a test hand before we wrap things up here. Like I said, leave a like on this video and comment down below what you think of this deck as overall, and my content in general. You know, I'd like to hear you guys' feedback on, you know, some of the videos that I've made. If you haven't seen this deck profile, I highly encourage you to do so. I will be leaving a link in the description down below. So we're going to pile shuffle here really quickly. You know, I'm trying to work my way to that 1,000 subscriber benchmark. I cannot get there without your help. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, hit that button for me, please. Do me that fist solid. And I promise I'll continue bringing you guys really cool and unique Yu-Gi-Oh content. You know, trust me, you won't be disappointed. I got some really cool stuff in the works, and I don't want you guys to miss out when I make a video. So we're shuffled up here. We're going to go ahead and cut. This is something that we do on the channel. Like I said, we do live takes, no editing done. So if we whiff, we whiff. We'll see what our opening hand is. We got Big Welcome Labyrinth, Infinite Impermanence, Terrors of the Overroot, and a Dimensional Barrier. So this is one of those things, one of those times where I was telling you, you know, you're playing a control deck, sometimes there isn't a combo. You just set 5 pass and laugh at your opponent. What's cool here is even if we were going second, we drew double Imperm, which is arguably pretty good. That is definitely enough to stop some decks straight in their tracks. But even if we were going first, this hand is absolutely incredible. I would literally just go ahead and set all of these cards face down. So we have a Big Welcome Labyrinth, double Imperm, a Terrors of the Overroot, which is really good removal, as well as a D barrier. So once we know what the opponent's playing, once they commit, you know, cards to their board, we can just shotgun this and call, you know, whatever, if it's Xyz against Kashtira, Fusion against Branded, you know, Synchro versus against Sword Soul, for example. So we have the ability to, we have a really good control of the game just with that opening hand alone. But just for the sake of showing you guys some interaction, on their turn, we'd obviously go Big Welcome Labyrinth. And then what we would do is we would special summon the copy of Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. And then it would get bounced to our hand off of the Big Welcome Labyrinth's resolution, but because we activated a normal trap card this turn, we're actually able to special summon the Lady Labyrinth from our hand back to our side of the field using its own effect. And now that we have set cards, Lady Labyrinth cannot be targeted or be destroyed by the opponent's card effects. Keep in mind now that when we activate a normal trap, Lady Labyrinth can trigger to set another normal trap from our deck with a different name from the card that's activating. So now we can toolbox anything on our deck. Let's say we want to go Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. If we want a free pop, and the pop also turns into a Foolish Burial at resolution. You know, we can grab whatever we need. Even Welcome Labyrinth, you know, digging us deeper into our Labyrinth line. So that's pretty much how that turn's going to go. But we'll go ahead and do one more test hand. That way you guys can, you know, hopefully see some more of the deck. Let's see here. I'll just pile shuffle really fast. I know sometimes you guys don't like watching me pile shuffle, but I only do it that way you guys can see that I'm not trying to stack my deck and purposely draw, you know, the cracked, you know, opening hands, you know, some 1 in a million kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys appreciate the overall honesty of the video. Like I said, I'm still a young content creator. I've only been doing YouTube content for a little over a year now. And it's a learning process, and quite frankly, I really enjoy it, and I feel like I have a lot of knowledge about the game and things to say, and I feel like anybody watching this right now would agree, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you know, I want to thank those who've taken the time to subscribe and are sitting here watching this content right now. This is all for you guys. So let's do another opening hand. We're going to go Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch, Evil Eye of Gorgonale, Surziel, Watcher of the Evil Eye, Basilatrus, Familiar of the Evil Eye, and Ariane, the Labyrinth Servant. So, like I was saying, Ariane's not really a starter. We're just testing this as a one-of in the deck, simply because we just need another level 4 sometimes to go into our rank 4 plays. And she has an identical effect to Ariana. When a normal trap makes a monster leave the field, she allows us to draw a card and potentially special a fiend from our hand as well. So this hand is actually not that bad. We can normal summon the Surzeal here, activate Surzeal's effect to go ahead and search for an Evil Eye card. Now, even if we get stopped, like Impermed or Ashed, we still have plenty of follow-up because we have Basilatris in hand, plus Gorgonale and a Ghastly Glitch, for disruption on their turn. But assuming this resolves, what we'll do here is we could pretty much... Here, you know what? There's a couple ways we can go about this. Let's go ahead and search out the... Unleashed. We'll activate Unleashed. We'll go ahead through the motions here. We'll grab the Selene to our hand, but we'll dump a Basilatris from deck to grave, and we'll send a Gorgonale from deck to graveyard. Kind of just deck thinning our deck really quickly, and now we have access to some pretty cool things. So what we can do here is we could special summon the Basilatris here if we wanted to. We could go from our hand or the graveyard. It really doesn't matter which one. Special Basilatris. And then what we can do is we can actually go Selene, equipping it to Surzeal, and then go ahead and set a copy of Ghastly Glitch and pass. Now, this might not look very powerful, but it is. There's a lot of hidden potential here because on the opponent's turn, we're going to have a lot of things going off. So we have a free pop with Surzeal's effect since it's equipped with Selene. We have another pop using the Ghastly Glitch since we control Fiend monsters. Target any card they control, destroy it, and then send a Fiend monster from deck to grave. A good target for that would be a copy of Absolute King Backjack. And then when he's sent to grave, we can excavate our deck, stack a trap to the top, and then use this graveyard effect to banish himself. Reveal the top card of our deck. If it's a trap, we set it, and it can be used that turn. So there's things we can do there. And then keep in mind with Basilatris, we can quick link using him and Surzeal or him and the Selene or however we want to go into it, and we can still make the Gorgon Empress of the Evil-Eyed or a copy of Surzeal on the opponent's turn, whichever one we feel we need given the situation, and then whichever one we link into, we can go Evil Eyes Unleashed graveyard effect to then equip the Selene to whichever link we end on during the opponent's turn, granting us either a free negate or another pop, whichever link we want to go into. And then, like I said, that'll probably be more than enough to keep the opponent at bay. We'll draw a card for our next turn, top deck another Surzeal, and then we just keep playing from there. And like I said, now we have graveyard follow-up because we can banish the Gorgonale from graveyard, pitching the Gorgonale in hand to then search for an Evil Eye spell trap. There's a lot of different things we can do. And like I said, this is pretty much how the deck plays. You can pivot on either the Evil Eye or Labyrinth line at any time. Neither, engine conflicts with one another. There's a lot of overlap. A lot of the cards that work with Labyrinth will work just the same with Evil Eye and vice versa. And that's part of the reason why I put the deck together. It just doesn't really matter how you draw. You always have plays, and there's a lot of one-card engines and one-card lines that you can go down, and it makes for a pretty entertaining deck. It's a 42-card list, and it's pretty consistent for the most part. Even the hands where you draw nothing but traps, you still have ways to get to engine, which ultimately is any deck's dream. Here, I'll shuffle up real quick again, and we'll just do another Drew Defeat, Drew Ariana, Drew Lady, Drew Ariana, Drew Labyrinth. We can normal Ariana. Ariana will search us like a Welcome Labyrinth, for example. Special Lady, set the Welcome, activate Labyrinth, set Defeat, and, keep the other Ariana for follow-up. And even that is going to be pretty difficult for the opponent to play through. We have a Welcome Labyrinth on their turn, which will trigger the Labyrinth effect to pop another card. We even have Evil Eye Defeat. Lady can chain to set another trap from deck. when we do the welcome labyrinth and it pops, Ariana gets this free draw, so you can kind of see how things start to snowball. But that's going to be it for the video, guys. Again, I said I wasn't going to make this too long, and it's getting to be long. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. And like I said, check out the deck profile. The link's in the description below. If you haven't watched it, I highly encourage you to do so. And stay tuned for the channel, because I'll be bringing you guys some really cool content with this coming weekend as well as next week as well. And with that being said, this is Nick signing out.